It is going down on a beautiful Saturday morning here in the Ville. Wake up 502, 96.1 FM, 1450 AM, Big X Sports Radio. This is your boy Raashaan Myers here coming to you live from the palatial studios of WXVW, Big X Sports Radio, 96.1 FM, 1450 AM. And I am so excited to be here this morning. Back up streaming live all over. Of course, we're on your terrestrial airways, but we are also back on YouTube, back on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, back on Facebook. We finally got all the technical difficulties taken care of. So excited to be back in full effect. Going to be here with you guys. We're not going to be here till 11 today. We're only going to be on to about 10:30. Of course, your University of Louisville Fighting Basketball Cardinals are on the road in Indianapolis this afternoon, taking on the most hated rivals, or the not so hated rival, Indiana Hoosiers, this afternoon. We will be headed up there. We will be in attendance for the game. So we will need to cut out just a little early just to make sure that we can get up the road without an issue. So back on the road again after the very difficult and tough first loss of the season for the Cards on the road in Fayetteville versus John Calipari and the Arkansas Razorbacks. We're going to get into that. We're going to chop up kind of the autopsy of that game, what we learned, and what we need to see moving forward. We're going to also look forward to, of course, Louisville's game today against the Indiana Hoosiers. We're going to talk a little bit about, UK as well. Got to talk a little bit about the Cats and their struggles. Got absolutely lambasted last night by the, Gonzaga Bulldogs down there in Nashville. So, we're going to get into that. A little bit about Lamar Jackson, thoughts on the Baltimore Ravens. What can they do? So we're going to try to spray in a little bit of everything. And, of course, we're going to take your calls and texts as well. 502-414-1450. That is the Game Day Men's Health text line. That is the best way to get involved and get interactive with us this morning. Would love to hear your thoughts on anything. Louisville basketball, Louisville football, of course, who got the big win last week to end their season against the University of Kentucky. Would love to hear your thoughts on that as well. Jeff Brom putting a bow on a season to where, maybe the Titanic didn't completely sink. Maybe it just kind of floated barely above the water to the mainland and didn't sink in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Louisville did do that. The aftermath, it's crazy that this time last Saturday we're talking about, the fact that Kentucky had the momentum and that Mark Stoops is likely coming back. Fast forward 1 week, Stoops has been fired, and Will Stein is now the new Kentucky head coach. That's absolutely insane. I did not think when I was sitting here last Saturday that we would be talking about a former Louisville quarterback as now the head coach of the Kentucky Wildcats. So, there's just been a lot happening. This has been the longest 7 days, y'all. The whole world was different 7 days ago, except for with Kentucky basketball anyway. The whole world was different, and we're going to talk about it all. So would love to hear from you. Would love to hear your interactions. If you all have any thoughts on X or on Facebook or YouTube, you all can put those in the comments, and I can read those live on the air as well. So would love to hear from you. Haven Harrington should be along in a bit as well. I don't think we'll have Romy Bean, a.k.a. Romy Kelly, this morning, but he was nice enough to at least get this thing going and rolling so that we could get all the nice, pretty pictures and all that good stuff up, and you all can see me wearing my Cardinal polo this morning. But let's get into it. So, of course, Louisville basketball front and center. Now that the football season is over, that is where we are at right now. University of Louisville did take their first loss of the season on the road in Arkansas. John Calipari, Kenny Payne sitting on the bench not doing much. Those guys, we know the team. Malik Thomas, Darius Acuff, DJ Wagner, Malik Ewan, all the guys, that are part of Arkansas basketball. We, of course, around here locally follow Arkansas a little bit more closely just because of the UK Coach Cal side of it. That's a program that around here has a lot of interest, either because Louisville fans want to hate watch Kentucky and laugh at them when things go well. And I just want to ask you all. I bet you the Kentucky fans wish they still had Coach Calipari now. Like I know that, when they talked about Haven Harrington just walked in the building. I know when the Kentucky fans talked about wanting to get rid of Coach Cal, and they were happy that they got Coach Cal gone and all that mess. They were thinking that they still had all of the prospects in front of them of having a great coach and being able to have a guy that loved the fans and was about all the right things and all that good stuff. So I wonder how they're feeling about that now. Haven Harrington, good morning, brother. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing good. Now, Raashaan, listen, I've been listening to Flab and Blue Blab all morning long.
Hey, Haven, can you do me one favor? Somebody just rang that doorbell. Please tell them to stop ringing that doorbell. I'm pretty sure it's probably James, but can you grab that real quick?
No, I'm going to grab the doorbell. I'm going to get back to my point.
Go ahead. You can get back to your point.
I'm going to get my point right now. Then go get the door. The point is this. You need to go ahead and take your walk of greatness for your comment about this UK team being nothing but a bunch of role players, overpaid, overhyped role players. You've been quiet, but you said that since the summer. You need to go ahead.
I'm trying to be gracious, Haven Harrington.
Don't be gracious. Pat yourself on the back. Just like Gonzaga patted UK on the bum last night. Pat yourself on the back, buddy. You called it out this summer. There's nothing but a bunch of overpriced role players. Take it from there.
That's fair. Thank you. I was gonna get you right back, Haven Harrington. But hey, look. All right, so let's get into that. Haven, I knew Haven was gonna come in on fire this morning. All right, so in terms of Kentucky basketball, I can understand why he wants that. That's the most pressing situation. But I did, prior to the season, look at the list of characters out there that were listed to be coming in for Kentucky. We saw the addition of a injured Jaden Quaintance. We saw the addition of Jalen Lowe literally maybe an hour after the news that Yaxel Lindenborg was not going to Kentucky and made this decision to go to Michigan. We saw the other additions that came through as well, from the young man Cam Williams, and bringing back Harrison, adding Diabate, all those types of things. Like, we saw all of that, absolutely. But it was kind of one of those things where was that for us, Haven Harrison?
It was not for us.
Oh, okay. It was for somebody else. Okay. Well, they said that the folks was because for people behind the scenes, there's a couple of stations in here, and they were fussing this morning saying that we had our people coming. Our guests come and ring the doorbell, and they would be live on the air trying to do their show, and they'd be ringing the doorbell. Says, we can't, we got people ringing the door. It's like, I'm sorry, we won't have our people ring the doorbell anymore. So that was the background behind that. But thank you, Haven Harrington, for checking on that. I appreciate it.
No problem.
We saw the people that they brought in, Mo Diabate, bringing back Garrison, bringing back Oweh. And the one thing that I said, I was like, well, first of all, okay, I understand that you missed on Yaxel Lindenborg, went to Michigan. You missed on Donovan Dent. You missed on some of these guys. But the thing that I said about this team was none of these guys are stars. None of these guys have been stars. And, Kentucky fans wanted to argue with me about, Otega Oweh was in double figures 25 times last year. And, he was averaged 16 points per game and all this stuff. And, you're going to tell me that dude's a role player? I'm like, yes. Everything all the success that, Otega Oweh had as a player was because of the presence of a Kobe Bryant, the presence of a Jackson Robinson, the presence of a Butler. You know what I'm saying? Like, all those guys on the perimeter that were shooting the ball very well, that gave him wide open spaces to attack the basket. I said, but none of these guys on this Kentucky team, Jalen Lowe included, Mo Diabate included, Jaden Quaintance even, none of these guys have been the man before. I was like, and that was the biggest question I had about this Kentucky roster construction was just the fact that you're betting on a lot of guys just stepping up and becoming stars. And with a team that does not shoot the ball well, and a team that, Coach Pope did not go out there and recruit those types of shooters, I just did not understand how this thing was going to work. So that was my, that was my assessment. Of course, Big Blue Nation just told me I was hating, but I feel like Haven Harrington, they have come to see what I was talking about, because they've looked like, honestly, a bunch of role players and a bunch of guys that don't fit Coach Pope's system.
Well, it's not that they don't fit Coach Pope's system. It's that Pope didn't get guys to fit his system.
Yeah.
Like, he knows he wants to,
he knows what his system is, and he knows what it takes to be successful.
He knows he wants to shoot. He wants guys that can drain threes and shoot a bunch of threes. We know that. That's what he plays. That's what he does. But he went and got nobody that can shoot. It makes zero sense. Why run an offensive system that you want to run designed on guys being able to shoot 3-pointers and then don't get anybody that can shoot 3-pointers? It makes no sense. I understand when they get tougher, because one of the reasons he got all these guys, because he wanted to get tougher, because he got pushed around a lot last year, the SEC.
Yes.
So he's like, we got to get tougher. We got to get bigger. We got to get stronger. I need guys that can battle down below. I need guys who won't get pushed around. I need guys, that you can't bully in the paint anymore. And he did that. He went and got those guys. But then he forgot to get the guys that can dribble and shoot, which is the other half of basketball.
And the most important part of the formula for a Mark Pope system, by the way.
Yes. It was crazy. I read a stat last night, and I don't know how true this is. I probably shouldn't say it.
No, say it. We like incorrect stats on this show.
But I'm going to say it anyway. Somebody said that Oweh's salary, Oweh's NIL deal, which is worth of $3 million.
I retweeted that.
Yes, was more than Gonzaga spent on their entire team.
They said the estimated NIL value of the Gonzaga Bulldogs this year comes in at around the NIL estimation of about $3 million. They said Otega Oweh himself makes more than the whole Gonzaga roster.
That's crazy.
And I'm going to be honest with you, Haven Harrington. Look, this is just between me and you, all right? So don't tell anybody else this, but I think Otega Oweh is making about twice as much as the whole Gonzaga roster. It's not even close.
And what's worse than that? Now, from what
I've heard, I'll just say it. That's what I heard.
I'm a football first guy.
Yes, sir.
Some of the tightest back to football.
Okay, yes.
First of all, I'm going to give big props to Louisville East. Will Stein and what he's doing with the Kentucky.
Can you believe that, dude? It's only been a week since last week we were in here breaking down the Kentucky Louisville game, and Mark Stoops possibly saving his job by beating Louisville. To go from that last Saturday, Haven, to now Stoops is fired and Will Stein is the coach of Kentucky. That's insane.
And he's making a little ease. Justin Burke is coming in, another former Louisville quarterback, to be the offensive coordinator. Pete Nacho, which is our recruiting coordinator, is going to join him for the exact same job.
It's bizarro world,
to be recruiting coordinator. I guess we switched them out. We got Vince Morrow. They got Nacho. Whatever.
This is the longest 7 days in history.
That's a watch. The guys putting together pretty much an all Louisville staff at Kentucky. Why? Because never mind. I wasn't going on the whole rant about how none of the Kentucky coordinators want to come back because they know how horrible of a job it is. But I'm going to leave that alone.
They want to be us.
But
they want to be Louisville.
But no, I'm going to say this. No, because they know what a talent is. They know what a talent is. I get that. But besides that, Kentucky spent $22 million on basketball NIL. How much money do you think Will Stein, and I think Will Stein's going to put together a great staff. Don't get me wrong. I told Raashaan this. If for some reason Braum left this year, Will Stein was my pick to replace Braum. So big ups to Kentucky for getting Stein. That was my guy. That was the guy I would have chose to replace Braum. So I'm not mad at him. Right?
Yeah.
But how much money is Kentucky going to have left over display on this football team. Now, I think Styles going to win games based on offensive talent. I think he's going to be able to score points in bunches. And I think they'll be better next year than they were this year. But will they really be able to get to the heights that they say they want to get to in football if they're spending literally all their money on a basketball team? So I would bet you they probably pretty close. They easily spent almost every SEC school.
You're talking about UK basketball?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I am right there with you. I think that the University of Kentucky, a lot of people, because Kentucky's been playing so bad, has been talking about this whole, I don't believe that number. I don't believe the 22 million. No, that's just because the UK is playing like crap. I fully believe that number. I believe it. I absolutely believe it.
Because they thought they would get them a chip.
Yes.
They thought $22 million in basketball should get you a chip. And you know what? It should get you a chip.
Absolutely. Yeah.
$22 million in basketball should at least get you a Final Four.
You should have the Monstars for your starting lineup if you spent $22 million.
Yeah, I mean, in basketball, it may get you to the playoffs, maybe.
Football?
In football,
yeah.
it may get you to the playoffs. Maybe.
Red Zeppelin checking in this morning, 502-414-1450 on the Game Day Men's Health text line. He said, Mark Pope came within 6 points of getting fired last night. Now, Mark Pope's not going to – look, hey, this is the other thing, man. Like,
dude,
I need people to stop trying to compare Mark Pope to Kenny Payne. Like, that really disrespects Mark Pope because nobody is – Kenny Payne was literally the worst basketball coach.
No, stop it, Raashaan. First of all, he's the worst coach, period.
Yeah,
I don't care if it's any sport.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Any sport.
You're right.
And I'm talking about at any level, Little League, YMCA, soccer, youth, pick a sport. The worst coach at any level of sport, in any sport, that's Kenny Payne.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah,
he lost to Illinois Ryan.
Well, that's the whole thing. I was like, okay, people, like I keep hearing, like I was listening, of course, because Kentucky loses the game. What am I going to do? Listen to UK post game. That's my favorite thing to do after a Kentucky loss.
But their tears.
I heard so many, whether it was big blue media guys or fans calling in, and I just continued to hear comparisons or people talking about this Kentucky team and what's going on with Kentucky this year in the lens compared to Kenny Payne. And I'm like, no, okay? No. Mark Pope took Kentucky to the Sweet 16 last year. Like I said, Kenny Payne couldn't win half of 16 games total.
In 2 years.
That, like, literally. Like, so let's just stop. Let's stop with the Mark Pope. Mark Pope is a solid coach. Okay, he just played himself. He played himself. He tried to be a people pleaser. He wanted to go out there and fill up the roster with a bunch of guys that made the fans happy because everybody said they didn't have any athleticism. They said that they didn't play any defense, and he overcorrected. Like, that's the problem. Like, now, I'm not saying that necessarily, I don't know if Mark Pope is built for this job just because I don't think he's, a jerk enough. He's not. You have to be a bit of a psychopath. You got to be kind of like overly what's the word, Haven, when you
just mustache twirling villain?
Well, yeah, not necessarily, but you have to be like, what is it when you just think you're the greatest thing ever? Like, what's that called?
A megalomaniac.
Yes, you have to just believe you are the greatest thing walking this earth, and you're God's gift to everything. You know what I mean? You have to have it because the UK job, people's going to have opinions, and people are going to come at you extra aggressive all the time, and you have to be completely insulated from that to believe that whatever you're doing is awesome.
It's going to work.
I literally don't care anything about what people
me. I got this.
Yes. And to me, Mark Pope has
is he too nice?
The sauce. Yes. Cause he hears everything. Cause and it comes from a place of love. Mark Pope loves Kentucky, and he wants nothing more than to make the fans and the administration of the school proud. But the problem is his ears are wide open. He hears everything. And that impacted him being a coach. It impacted him putting this team together. So, for this year, am I saying that UK can turn around? Probably not.
No.
I don't think there's any turning around this team. I think Jaden Quaintance can help. I think if they can keep Jalen Lowe healthy and keep his shoulder from falling off, they can help.
That's going to be the big thing.
But, like, is this Kentucky team a tournament team, Haven Harrington?
Maybe.
Possibly. If everybody comes back, they possibly could. But the problem is this. People keep saying, oh, well, this team will be fine once JQ gets back. But the problem is you got to be able to win enough games. You have to build a resume. Like, if you lose all of these out-of-conference games, that's a problem. Like to me, the biggest game of the year, I'm going to be honest with you, and I don't even know how big of a win it's going to be. It's going to be next Saturday for Kentucky.
Really?
They got to beat Indiana because they're not beating St. John's. That's not happening. So the question is, can they beat Indiana at home with the team that's currently constructed? Because more than likely, Jaden Quaintance is not going to be back until SEC play. So can they beat Indiana with this roster as currently constructed? Because that's going to be that's going to be their only opportunity for a big resume win out of conference. The SEC is still decent, but they're not as good as they were last year. It's not like you're going to have every game be a quad one win like it was last year. The SEC is not at that level this year. So you're going to have opportunities for good wins, but the unfortunate issue for Kentucky in that situation is that a lot of those teams that you're going to have an opportunity for good wins are just like way better than you. So more than likely you're not going to get those wins. So you're not going to be able to pick up, what I want to say is cheap quad one wins over like a South Carolina, over a Vanderbilt, over LSU. Like all those games were quad one games last year. So you could kind of build your resume and make it look a lot better. That's why Kentucky was 8-10 last year in the SEC, or whatever it was. And they still had like 1,000 quad one wins and 15 wins over top 15 programs and all the stats. We heard all the stats last year. That's going to be the issue for Kentucky is that, yes, JQ could come back, but what's your resume going to look like at that point? Kentucky needs to have some sort of data point in the non-conference to say that they're decent. And that comes down to Indiana because they play St. John's 2 weeks from today. They're not beating St. John's in 2 weeks.
Are you sure they won't beat St. John's?
Absolutely not. No, St. John's is everything that Kentucky can't deal with right now. Physical team, a lot of size, is going to pound it inside. Pretty much like Graham EK last night for Gonzaga. They have a dynamic big guy that they run everything through, and they're just going to pound you to death. But the difference between Gonzaga and St. John's is that St. John's shoots the three ball better than what Gonzaga does. Gonzaga's not really a three-point shooting team, even though you couldn't tell last night. They were shooting like 50% from three, but that's because Kentucky gives everybody wide open three-point shots. Like, everybody shoots well against them.
Kentucky's defense wasn't the best.
Defense is horrible. The defense is horrible. It's like everybody has their best shooting day against Kentucky. Why? Because, and we did, now I can't compare this to Kenny Payne. Everybody shot well against Kenny Payne teams defensively because Kenny Payne teams gave everybody, step into wide open three-point shots. Any college player, if they can stand there, measure it, and shoot it,
can hit it.
Yes, they're college athletes. So that's why, that's the one thing, and that's the question with the Indiana game next week because all Indiana wants to do is shoot three. They don't have the size. They don't have the athletes, and we'll get into that breakdown on the other side talking about Louisville on the road today against Indiana, is that Indiana can shoot. They have guys that can shoot. They have Lamar Wilkinson. They have Darian DeVries. They have a lot of guys. That's what, that's what they want to do. They want to spread it out. They want to shoot the ball. The thing is they don't have the athletes. They don't have the size inside. That they are a true spread team. Indiana plays a style very similar to Louisville. So that's going to come. Kentucky, I know it's hyperbole to say, but in a lot of ways, Haven Harrington, Kentucky's whole season comes down next Saturday.
Oh, wow.
Can they get a win in Rupp versus Indiana? Because if you go 0 for 5 against all of your major opponents in the non-conference, it's going to be very hard to make the NCAA tournament. I'm just being honest with you.
Man, if they missed the tournament with this roster, with the money they spent on this roster,
it's insane, man.
That's crazy. Because you know what's going to happen? Because you spent $22 million this year, means you're going to spend about the same next year.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely.
Because you're going to have to compensate for this year, so you have to go out there and get you the best guards money can buy out of the portal.
Oh yeah. It's
This may be a rough couple of years for the Wildcat basketball team.
It's tough. It's tough.
Which, like I said, is going to bleed to the football team because you're going to have to deprive the football team of talent to pay for the basketball team to get it to where you want it to be.
I mean, the way Pope is rolling right now, they may start talking about when's the spring game. Like, and that's wild.
That is crazy.
That's insane. But hey, look, we're going to go ahead. We're going to get to our first break. On the other side, we're going to talk more about this Louisville game where me and Haven are going to be heading up to Indianapolis. I want to ask Haven Harrington his thoughts on the Arkansas loss, what that means, and kind of look forward to getting you ready for this UK Indiana Hoosiers showdown in Indianapolis.
Saturday, baby.
Man,
what is going to happen to the ACC if Duke wins?
Oh, God, yeah.
What will happen to the ACC if Duke wins? What happens if BYU wins? There's still a lot of pandemonium that could be had.
Absolutely.
And what happens if Indiana beats Ohio State?
Yeah, there we go. Hey, that much more. You are listening to Wake Up 502. Raashaan Myers, Haven Harrington, and we'll be back on the Big X. Hence the theme of the show this morning with the music.
Are we on the road?
There you go, on the road. We got to be out on that road, brother. You know.
I know, an hour before you got to get on, but you got to get on there kind of quick because Naptown is going to be crazy.
It's going to be insane today.
It's going to be insane because the Louisville IU game is sold out, and we know IU and Ohio State in the Big Ten championship is going to be sold out. So
yeah, it's going to be madness. So, I told Haven Harrington, let's get to Indy, get there quick before every Ohio State and Indiana fan just absolutely takes it over. Let's try to slide in and slide out, man.
If they're not there already.
Right. Oh, yeah, there's plenty there already, but around 4 o'clock or so in downtown Indianapolis is going to be a zoo. So, yeah, we need to get in and out of Dodge as quickly as possible because, Big Ten championship game is going to be insane. The top 2 teams in the country. I can't believe Indiana Hoosiers are playing for the number 1 seed in the college football playoff. Can you believe that?
I mean, undefeated, baby.
It just doesn't seem real, man.
Hey, you get the right coach, you got enough money, things can happen.
It's unbelievable.
Because we've seen it now. Once again, talk about NIL money. And if UK can put the money behind their football team to make Will Stein the coach that they think he can.
I mean, Kurt Signetti.
Indiana just outbid, was it Ohio State? For like the number 1 quarterback in the country?
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, wow. I didn't see that.
Yes, because Indiana, for people who don't know, Mark Cuban is Indiana grad and has dropped a bag on Indiana.
Yeah, did you see Michigan State just had the Acrisure CEO drop $401 million?
Yes. I mean, that's when and they went out and they're about to spend whatever, I mean, from what, if reports are true, they're going to spend whatever it takes to get Sayin away from Ohio State. If it's $5 million, whatever, we got you.
And by the way, our buddy Brian Durbin is listening. Shout out Brian. He's heading up the road to Indy. He'll be up there. One of the most awesome U of L fans ever. He lives and dies with the Cardinals every time. He said he's listening to us. He says, great this morning. He said the word that you're looking for, Raashaan, you said megalomaniac, Haven. Narcissist was the word I was looking for. Yes, because the UK coach has to be a narcissist. You have to completely believe that you're awesome and you're great and you don't care what anybody else has to say. So thank you, Brian, for clearing that up. That was absolutely what I was thinking of. He said, you all sound great. Talk about your favorite topic, UK losing. Hey, I tried to come in and talk basketball, Louisville basketball first. Haven Harrington's the one that just kicked in the door like the Kool-Aid man. Just want to make fun of UK. So that was not my fault.
I mean, their own fans. And UK fans hardly ever boo their own team.
I've never heard a Kentucky game where Kentucky got booed like that.
In the first half.
In the first 8 minutes.
They were just like, this is over. No.
I've never heard Kentucky fans boo their own team.
And it was loud.
Yeah.
It was audible. When they panned the crowd, nobody was happy. It was a UK home game. So it was like full of blue.
I really felt bad for Mark Pope, man. Like, because I know that hurts him to his core. To hear, know that they are booing him and his team. Like, I felt bad for him, man. Kentucky fans, y'all got to I know y'all are mad, but come on, man.
They deserve to be, dude, you spent.
No, they kind of quit last night. They were going through the motions last night.
You spent $22 million for this.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to be honest with you, Haven. Like, to me, Gonzaga didn't play a really good game last night. Dudes missed about 55 layups. And, they did not play well at all and still just kind of won by 35 or so points. Like, it's insane.
You spent 22. See, it'll be different if players were making this much money, like above the table, right? Yeah. It was like the old days, handshakes, envelopes,
right?
Cards.
And you didn't know what was going on. Yeah. Oh no, putting the price tag on it makes it way worse.
Oh,
it makes it way worse
because guys that spent like some horse baron someplace has spent his child's college fund on buying a UK championship ring,
right?
And just to see it just all collapse literally within like the first month of college basketball.
Yeah, it's insane. Our favorite person texted in. Didi text into the show. Call your office hotline, or not call your office hotline. Game Day Men's Health text line. Get my lines mixed up, Haven Harrington. 502-414-1450. Didi says, I love a good BBN meltdown. that football belt to ass was so sweet, and their basketball misery just adds to the cherry on top. Now I just want to add some Hoosier misery, and the week will be complete. Go Cards! Absolutely, DD. Yeah, like Louisville go on the road, go up to Indy, and get that put that whipping on the Hoosiers today. It absolutely will make a perfect week.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
What's that?
I know the game is sold out, so I know there's a ton of IU fans there, and there's a ton of Louisville fans going to be there.
Yes.
If I was a betting man, I would bet IU fans don't care too much if we beat them or not. I bet 80% of their focus is on beat Ohio State.
Oh, I disagree with that. Now I do believe that they are riding high on this football run, but a lot like Louisville, Haven Heritage, Indiana is still a basketball school.
Oh, no. So here's saying they're basketball. Here's saying like they're a basketball school.
I think they will definitely care if they lose today.
I mean, they're going to care. But beating Ohio State is way more important.
Oh, absolutely.
More important
in terms,
way more attention because the basketball season is still young.
Yes,
you can always come back. Plus, the Big Ten is suspect anyway.
But honestly, I'm gonna say what makes it worse, and why I do think that this game takes a lot of priority for them is that while they did have a couple of decent early season wins, they knocked off Marquette, who's not looked great early. They knocked off Kansas State at home. Them going out in their first Big Ten game earlier this week on Wednesday and getting beaten by the Minnesota Gophers, I feel like Indiana's a little bit nervous of how good they really are, So I think that Louisville is seen as an opportunity to get a big win. They're going to have more fans there. They're going to have an opportunity to get a nice resume win. So I definitely think there's some nerves for this game because they lost on Wednesday. That was their first loss of the season. So now you're coming in playing a really good Louisville team, a team that everybody recognizes is really good. Oh, I definitely think that there's going to be some angst. Now, I agree with you. The Big Ten championship game is definitely much more important, and they do have time to turn around. But, I definitely think there's there's a lot of attention to this game. They will not be happy if they don't get this win.
Oh, so Indiana just beat Ohio State and everything will be okay.
Yeah. Now, yes. Now, I will say that. Now, if they lose to Louisville and then they go turn around and beat Ohio State, they won't care at all. but they lose to Louisville
and lose to Ohio State.
See that right there?
Christmas is canceled.
Yes, that right there is what the nerves will be because they'll already be upset that they lost the basketball game, but then they understand that everything comes down. My happiness for probably the next month and a half comes down to will we get this win over Ohio State? Can we win our first Big Ten championship? So it's going to be a nice little mix of just fear and hope.
So, but before the break, you asked me about my thoughts against Louisville and Arkansas.
Yes. So yeah. What did you think? What did you feel like we learned about that? Are you worried at all?
I'm not worried at all.
Okay.
Not in the least bit. The reason I'm not worried is because this is something I said in the offseason that was going to happen. You have a true freshman point guard. Yes, he's super talented. Yes, he can make all the passes. He has range out the wazoo. He could drive and dribble and everything else. But you're going to have to deal with freshman mistakes and him learning how to play the game at this level. And teams going to throw things at him that he's not prepared for. That's going to kind of catch him by surprise. He's going to work through that. And that's what you saw with Arkansas. He wasn't as aggressive as what he needed to be in the first half. Made a lot of mistakes. We got down, we fought back, but a lot of it was because our point guard just wasn't the leader we needed him to be.
Yeah.
But that's because he's a freshman. It's not because he doesn't have the talent, the physicality, or anything of that nature. It's just he's inexperienced. He's learning to play the game at this level. So you're going to have to take your bumps and bruises as he matures as a basketball player, and he learned a valuable lesson against Arkansas. The other thing we learned is that Javon Hadley may not be best suited to play the 4 spot, especially against bigger athletic guys. That's not his bag. We need Frew down there. We need Zoo to kind of step up a little bit. I like to see Wiz Khalifa score the ball more, become more offensive minded.
Wiz Khalifa.
I keep calling Wiz Khalifa, right? I just can't help myself.
That's hilarious.
Khalifa.
Ali.
I'm gonna use last name because I'm gonna call him Wiz like forever. So Khalifa, I need him to be more offensive minded. To look to score first, pass second or third.
Yeah.
And you need to be more physical. And that's what this team is learning. And I think that's what the kind of coach is learning about where to put guys as well. And that's my take on the Arkansas game. That and the third takeaway is, man, Calipari just has this whole thing about when he plays Louisville. He just knows how to press all the right buttons. Like, it's just, yeah. I mean, the man, anytime Calipari plays a quote-unquote rival, the man's unstoppable.
Like, the fact that Trayvon Brazile comes out and looks like freaking Steph Curry when the dude's shooting like 25% from three. Was anybody surprised that dude comes out just bombing threes? Like,
I mean,
that's like every Kentucky Louisville game ever that Cal coached.
It is. It's just like Cal just has this thing when he goes against rivals, the man's just dialed in at another level.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But no, and I agree with a lot of what you said. I mean, to me, the things that you learned, that's why I love the game. I love that Arkansas. I had a feeling that Arkansas was going to do the best job of exposing our blemishes and the things that we really needed to work on because of the type of team that they had and just how Coach Calipari coaches, how he gets his teams to buy in and understand what they need to do. Like, the one thing that I really believe, and I didn't say this on Twitter because I feel like, Michael's people would have just, they were already blowing me up, but they would have really blown me up if I would have said this. But I think that Darius Acuff, the point guard for Arkansas, outplayed Michael. And the reason why is because the only thing he was invested in doing was running his team. He was not invested in going out there and making it a me versus Michael. He went out there and did exactly what Coach Cal needed him to do. Get downhill, be aggressive, and create shots for your team. Michael at the half had, maybe 6-8 points and like no assists with like 2 or 3 turnovers. Acuff had maybe 5 or 6 points, but guess what? He had like 6 assists at halftime, and his team was up 20. Like, Darius Acuff has bought in, and Coach Cal has done a great job of helping him to buy in and understanding what his job is. But guess what, Haven Harrington? Coach Calipari has been doing this with superstar point guards for a long time.
Forever.
And he understands how to get those guys to understand what he needs them to do. This is new for Coach Kelsey. Okay? Coach Kelsey's never coached a kid like Michael Brown. Michael Brown is a young guy who's still learning his way and still trying to figure out college basketball. So it did not surprise me that happened. Does that mean that Darius Acuff is a better player than Michael Brown? Absolutely not. I think that as the game went along, Michael started to treat Acuff like a little boy out there. Like, it was clear who the more talented player is. The problem, it's not necessarily a problem, but the issue is that we're going to have to go through these growing pains, okay, with Michael understanding what he needs to do, with Coach Kell wrangling and getting a control of Michael to help him better understand what's going to help this team and him to be the most successful, the most efficient part of himself. Do you know what Michael's shooting from three-point range right now, Haven Harrington?
What?
27% from three. And he's shooting like 8 or 9 threes a game. You know how many wasted possessions that is? That's a lot of wasted possessions. But conversely, on catch and shoot, where it's a kick out, where he's able to set his feet, catch and shoot, he's shooting over 60% on catch and shoot threes. Like, the kid is absolutely deadly when he gives the ball up, gets it back, and can measure his shot and shoot it. So those numbers tell you right now where you need to be. Like, I understand in high school you could be the guy who was just running up and shooting a bunch of threes and knocking them down at a pretty good clip. But this ain't high school. This is college. Teams are going to scheme to take away the things that you do well and make you do the things that you don't do well.
And Cal did that.
And Cal did a great job of that. And Cal has the athletes to make it happen. And that's why I agree with everything you said. I think that Michael's going to get better. He's going to be fine. My biggest thing was, and I said it all day on Wednesday on Twitter and everywhere else, he has to understand. It's almost like right now Michael's like, okay, I attacked the basket one time. Now I can just come out here and jack 3 threes. okay, because I did attack the basket once, or I drove the lane and made one assist. Now it's time for me to get mine. Like, you can't play like that. You have to go out there and take what the defense is giving you every time down the court. Every time down. Like, if you're not attacking and being aggressive and creating and generating those shots for your team every time down, your team is not going to be its efficient best. And that's what he's got to understand. And he'll get it.
It just takes time.
It just takes time. Right now, he's still playing a lot of AAU high school, mentality. But it'll come. It'll come. And I agree with you on Hadley as well. Javon Hadley cannot play the 4, not as a starter and not, playing darn near 30 minutes. Javon Hadley is too small. Javon Hadley is a great teammate. He is a great basketball player. He is a great glue guy. But what he is not is a power forward playing against Power 5 big-time competition. He's not. No. Last year he had to because Louisville just didn't have anybody. They literally had James Scott and a bunch of perimeter dudes last year. Like, that's all they had. So, out of that necessity, Javon was the only other guy that could really play there because he had decent post-up game and he was tough and strong and physical. Okay? Louisville has plenty of big guys this year. Louisville has plenty of guys that can play that spot. I understand that Coach Kelsey's wanting some continuity from last year, but at some point he's going to understand, and Coach Kelsey has to learn these things as well. He's a guy who's seeing the analytics, and he's seeing what lineups work well together, and he's watching the tape and understanding where U of L got beat. Like, the fact that Javon Hadley killed Louisville the last 6 minutes of that game, Haven, because he was in there the final 6 minutes, and basically every time Arkansas missed a shot, they were able to get the offensive rebound and put it back in because Javon is the dude who's helping down there to try to get rebounds. And guess what? Dude is 6'5", and he's out there against 6'10", 6'11" jumping jacks from Arkansas. Like, it's just not going to work. I don't care how tough you are. I don't care how physical you are. I don't care how smart you are. If you're giving up 5 or 6 inches in height and another 8 inches in length, it's not going to work. You know what I mean? Like,
there's very few guys that could battle in the paint, giving up that much.
Yeah. And
it's like Charles Barkley's only guy.
And Dennis Rodman. That's it. That's the list. Like, that's the list.
That's it.
So, like, and no disrespect to Javon Hadley, you're not a Rodman and you're not a Charles Barkley. Like,
no,
it just is what it is. It's not a knock.
But you have guys that are big enough,
yes,
that could do it. But they're just not even.
You're not playing them the minutes.
You're not giving them the minutes, and they need to be down there because they need to learn how to bang at this level. And I think that would have been a great time, even though Zoo, even though Zoo sometimes isn't as athletic or as aggressive as what he needed. He needs to play against these guys to learn.
Man, Zoo can defend and rebound. Like, people get annoyed because he gets his shot blocked or whatever when he's going to the basket. But Louisville doesn't need him to score. You know what Louisville needs him to do? Throw his body around, get rebounds, and frustrate dudes on defense. And he does that. Like, he's never going to be a scorer, but he doesn't have to be. You don't have to have all 5 guys out there, shooting the ball. And to me, Zoo can do that as a reserve 4-man.
To me, that's what Frew and Khalifa should be doing.
Yes.
Those are the guys you need to score.
Yes. Agreed. But, like to me, Zoo, if you're rebounding, running the floor, playing defense, boxing guys out, playing with a lot of effort, to me, that would have helped greatly against Arkansas. And to me, Javon, you know who Javon is? He would be a perfect 6-man coming off the bench. A guy who can play a little bit at the 3, a guy who can play a little bit at the 2 if you need it, can go down to the 4 in a pinch if you need to go to a small ball lineup. You know what I mean? Like, he's a nice glue guy to kind of stick in there. He would fit perfectly with Kobe Rogers coming off the bench, with Willie coming off the bench. You have Hadley coming off the bench. If you have those 3 guys coming off the bench with Ali Khalifa and Zugris, that's perfect. To me, that's perfect. You slide Kanai into that stop. You put Kanai into that starting lineup at the 4 and let Kanai and Case and Pryor be those 2 guys at the 4 spot. You bring Zoo in there if you need him, at the 4. And then you let Hadley be the first guy off the bench replacing Isaac McNeely at the 3. That, to me, is the perfect setup. Like, and I feel like we'll get there at some point, but I understand Coach Kelsey wants to go with what got him here, and he'll make adjustments. As we saw last year, he had to adjust how this Louisville team played, and he'll get there. It's still early.
It just takes time.
Yeah, it just takes time. So, like, I'm not worried about it at all. I think Louisville has pieces. Like, I saw some people saying, this team isn't built right and they don't have what they need. I completely disagree. I feel Louisville has everything they need.
They do have everything they need, but now you just need your pieces to get more experience playing together. You need to get, before I messed up, Frew and Khalifa more offensive minded to get them to attack the basketball more. Especially Khalifa, he needs to learn some post moves.
And Big Five, I see your messages on X. I see you talking about it. I'm gonna pop it on here. Y'all can't see it on of course, over the radio, but I'm popping it up on X. Faisal Gul, my buddy, Big Five says, "Stop saying Allie. He can't score. He's awful. He's a passer only." Look. A lot of people are asking about Allie. I had another guy who said in the text message on the Game Day Men's Health text line, "Can Allie jump? Or is he just flat-footed?" Look, Ali Khalifa is still coming back off of that knee injury. He has not played basketball in more than a year. He's still babying his knees. I think Ali is going to get better in terms of the ability to score. Now, one thing I will say, you can't shoot an airball hook shot. Like, he shot an airball hook shot. Use the backboard. But I think that Ali's timing and playing big-time college basketball, this is all still new to him. And he talked about that after one of the games last week when he was in there in the media press conference. Like, he's still getting his timing back. He's going to get better, but I think that Ali has to, he is a great passer, but he's going to have to score a little bit, maybe 4 or 6 points, knock down the open three-pointer. I think he'll get there, but once again, Arkansas is a very tough, difficult matchup because you have so many athletic, big, quick-footed guys.
Well, the thing is, he has to at least be a threat to score.
Yes.
And right now, he's not a legitimate threat. And, once again, he's going to have to play and learn how to score. I think Frew has done a good job of, from the beginning of the season to now, you can see his offensive progression.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's become much more comfortable against more aggressive, more athletic.
It's a lot different than the European game.
Yes. And he's becoming more aggressive. He's becoming more comfortable, and you can see his offense production come up. Now we just need to see, Khalifa kind of do the same thing. Now, I don't think he is as offensively gifted as Frew. I think he's going to need much more tutelage to get there, but I think he can get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, you are listening to Wake Up 502. We will be back. Big X Sports Radio. Raashaan Myers, Haven Harrington, and we'll be back on the Big X. Wake Up 502 now joining as well. The U of L pregame show, simulcasting on 970 WGTK, Louisville First Radio Network. Raashaan Myers, Haven Harrington, coming to you live from the palatial studios of WXBW Big X Sports Radio. And I just want to make sure everybody remembers, go check out our good friends over there at the Feet First store. Feet First store in Jeffersonville is helping Kentuckiana move better and feel better every day. If you are dealing with plantar fasciitis, knee pain, back pain, or you spend all day on your feet, like myself, they have you covered. Their personally fitted orthotic system is designed to improve balance, alignment, and overall comfort. Athletes can see better stability and performance, and everyday workers get the relief they need to keep going strong. Schedule your appointment by calling 812-725-0208 or visit feetfirststore.com to book online. You can find the Feet First store in Jeffersonville at 2781 Jefferson Center Way. Make sure you check those good folks out. As I've said, man, you all know that I'm still going strong. I'm still out there hooping, 2-3 times a week. Being a former military man myself, United States Marine Corps, hoorah, dealt with plantar fasciitis. That was a big part, of some of the issues that I had. So I understand how quality footwear and orthotics kind of change your life. And Chris Cannon over there helped me out, did some great things for me, and he'll do the same for you. So make sure when you get out there to the Feet First store that you tell them that Raashaan Myers, Wake Up 502, and Big X Radio sent you over there. Haven Harrington, I got bad feet, so I'm very passionate about this.
And you should be.
I'm very passionate about it.
You know what? And before we get in this Louisville IU game, I want everybody out there to go right now to Mainville Sports Show on YouTube, like and subscribe, share the show with everybody. If you enjoy what we do, go find us at wakeup502.com. Follow us. Everything we do is up there at wakeup502.com. Man, and let's talk about these cards.
Absolutely. And 502-414-1450. That is the Game Day Men's Health text line. We have a bunch of texts coming in hot and heavy, Haven Harrington. I do have this one for you. Now, this one is Louisville football related, so I'm gonna send this one to you, and then we have another text for you as well. Everybody wants to talk to you this morning for some reason.
I'm the main.
LA Lakers 17 on YouTube says, "Why is everyone praising Will Stein like he's the next Bear Bryant? Same thing that we heard when they hired Pope. Dude has never been a head coach before. He's coaching in the big boy league in the SEC now." What do you think? Well, you said that you like Will Stein.
I like Will Stein a lot.
Do you think he's the next Bear Bryant?
I don't think he's the next Bear Bryant or Nick Saban or anything of that nature, but he's he's the number one rated offensive coordinator in college football. So if nothing else.
But did you see he hired an offensive coordinator and he said he's not going to call the plays in Kentucky? You know what? What do you think about that?
Everybody says that until things go sideways, right?
I was very surprised to hear that.
But hey, he hired Justin Burke, who followed him at Texas El Paso, I do believe, as their offensive coordinator, and Justin was lighting it up. So, he's a good play caller. He's putting together right now. So far he's putting together a pretty good coaching staff, and just have to take that with his tutelage under Strong and everybody else he played for. He's going to be a decent head coach.
All I know is that if you're the number one play caller in the country and then you bring in a dude and say that you're not calling plays, I just don't understand that whole.
You know what? That's only temporary.
That's weird. Texas says, so Raashaan, are you saying you got bad feet like Ali Khalifa? Yes. My feet and knees are probably exactly the same. Like, I feel like Ali Khalifa probably has 50-year-old knees and feet, and I'm not 50 yet, but me and Ali probably got the same, knees and feet. So
actually, your knees have gotten a lot better.
My knees have gotten better. My flexibility is a whole lot better. I'm definitely in a good spot. You know what I'm saying? I'm out there giving them youngins. I was giving them work earlier this week, Haven Harrington. I still ain't no slouch on the court. Now, I ain't retired yet, y'all. I ain't there yet. Texter also says, this is for Haven. This basketball question. They're asking you, Haven, about the basketball. This is interesting. It says, do you think Kaysen Pryor is going to have a breakout game today if he has longer minutes? Because Hadley is lollygagging around. I agree with that. What do you think?
I think Kaysen is still working his way. I think he's still getting his win back, and he's still kind of working his way into rotation because he He has a whole new players. He's kind of learning what they do so he can kind of play off them. And I think he's still kind of feeling out and learning his teammates. But he's almost there. I wouldn't say today will be his breakout game. I think probably sometime in January when he really starts to break out, when he gets his win back, where he can be the guy that he was before he got hurt.
Yes.
It's just going to take a little bit more, not a lot more time. It's going to take a little bit more time.
No, I agree with you. Absolutely. I mean, I think that Case ultimately, like I know I said right now that I feel like Hadley is better as the sixth man, the first guy coming off the bench to kind of be that support at the forward spot. With Kobe and Wooly as the 2 and the 1 in that scenario. I like Kaysen coming off the bench. Like I think that ultimately Kaysen could end up being the starter. I think he's overall the forward, the big forward with the most talent. But I like Kenai Roos right there. Like I could see Kaysen. The only problem with starting Kaysen plays with so much frenetic energy that I feel like if you start him, there's like a 50-50 chance dude's going to get like 2 fouls in the first 5 minutes. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
He comes into games very geeked up. So I could see a world where Kenai Roos plays a lot more within himself. He's not a bombastic dude. He kind of plays as a kind of like a junior Hadley where he's always under control, playing tough, playing physical, but he's very much in control. I feel like I could foresee where, Root Kenai is your starter, and then Kaysen comes off the bench and kind of spells him, and then now you're bringing that energy off the bench, and everybody's level kicks up a notch when Kaysen gets in there. I think that Kaysen is maybe a little bit too explosive to start because he's like one side of a car crash looking for the other end of it. You know what I mean? Like he just comes into every game ready to just go insane. Until he dials that back a little bit, I don't think Kaysen can start. Brother's just a little bit too crazy. So.
Well, he's still too crazy, but I think he's still kind of. You have to understand with that type of injury and being out as long as you have and doing rehab, it takes a while to come back before you trust your knees.
You got 2 guys coming off knee injuries. That's why, with Kaysen and with Allie.
Yeah.
Like Allie was not only just coming off a knee injury, but Allie was also like carrying 300 pounds.
So nice. So a little bit different, but so Kaysen's always been more athletic than Allie's ever was.
Yes.
But Allie has to learn how to, one, come back from knee injury.
Trust his knees.
But come back as a much lighter guy. Number one. Number two, now he's about to be asked to score the ball, which he hasn't really kind of had to do before, not at this level, and not.
I was gonna say it's been since he was at NC Charlotte the last time he was asked to
score.
Yeah.
So now he's not just facilitating; he has to score, and he has to learn how to use big man moves in a much smaller body.
Yes,
that's going to take a while. Kaysen has a lot of energy, but now he has to get his wind back so he can play hard for a full 40 minutes like he did before he was hurt.
Yeah, he went out there and tried to get that second dunk, man, and it was like his knees just crumpled.
What energy's not there?
Yeah, he just doesn't have that explosive to be able to go like that for long minutes yet.
Yeah, it's just not there. So he has to, he has to build up to that. And the only way he can do that is to play ball. So the more he plays, the stronger he'll be. That's why I say give Kaysen until at least about the middle of January before you start to see the guy that we saw last year play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Give him more time. But I think against IU, we may not need him to be, go all in like he was last year.
So let's get into that. So IU on the road up in Indianapolis. We're going to be heading up there in just a few minutes. We'll be in the house today. Let's talk about it. So IU, I talked about it a little bit earlier, talking about Kentucky is going to be facing IU next weekend. This Indiana team is very similar to Louisville. They want to do a lot of things that Louisville does. They want to spread you out. They want to shoot a lot of threes. They want to get the open spaces so they can get backdoor cuts, drive the lane, et cetera, et cetera. They're pretty much Louisville, except just not as talented. They don't have the size. They don't have the dynamic point guard like a Michael Brown Jr. They do have a very good two-man. Like Lamar Wilkerson versus Ryan Conwell, that right there is worth the price of admission. You're talking about literally two of the 2 or 3 best 2 guards in the country going against each other. I think those two and Donovan Dent out there at UCLA are probably the 3 best scoring guards in the country. So you're going to have 2 of the best scoring guards in the country out there going mano a mano. But the thing about Indiana is they're not an overly physical team. They have kind of an undersized post player that can do some work in the paint, but nobody that's going to really give Frew a lot of problems. For you, Haven Harrington, do you think that Louisville's going to be able to positively bounce back from the Arkansas game and come out ready to play today? How do you feel about this one going in? Do you think the Cards will have any hangover, or do you think they'll be ready to go from the jump?
I think they'll be ready to go from the jump, and I think Michael Brown will really be ready to go from the jump. I think you're going to see him be more aggressive to start the game. I hope he doesn't try to overcompensate aggressiveness.
Yeah.
Based on the last game, but kind of still plays within himself. And as long as he plays within himself and is aggressive within his style of offense, he'll be fine. And I think he can have the most effect on the game because IU's point guard can't compete with Michael Brown. And I don't think it's even close. And that is a definite advantage that we're going to have this game that I think we can definitely exploit. That I think Frew down low, once again, be aggressive offensively, look to score, pull those guys in, and it's going to make Louisville's day like 1,000 times easier.
Yeah, I think that the pick and roll game with Frew and Michael and the pick and roll game with Conwell and Frew, both of those should be deadly today because Indiana just doesn't have the size to cover Frew. So when Frew is rolling downhill, the Hoosiers are going to have to help. And when they do sell out for that help, I can see, McNeely opposite wing just getting wide open threes, and whether it's Hadley out there. Like, this is a game where Javon Hadley can play, and I think that Javon Hadley would be fine. My biggest thing is just because Javon Hadley will be fine and okay in this game and Louisville can look good playing Hadley at the 4, I would really love to see the Cards start to invest a little bit more in those other guys, like investing more time. Like the fact that Kenai Roos only played 9 minutes in the game against Arkansas, that can't happen. Kenai only plays 9 minutes. Kason Pryor only plays 6 minutes. Like, you can do that against Indiana and be okay. But if I know Coach Kelsey is always looking to figure out what we need to change or what we need to move or what we need to adjust to get better. So I don't anticipate he'll kind of rest on the fact that, okay, we can go out here through the motions and look good against Indiana. And that's not to disrespect Indiana. It's just, the simple fact that, you can Indiana's not going to give you the same issues that Arkansas did, so you can go out there and rest on those laurels. I don't think that's going to happen, but it is impressive to me that, my biggest complaints with Michael Brown Jr., and this is kind of my thing about him, like, I feel like he had terrible games against Cincinnati and Arkansas and was a primary reason that those games, were rough at the half. But in both of those games, even though I don't think he was great, against Arkansas, 22 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Against Cincinnati, 22 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds. And those were, I feel like, his 2 worst games. And he still got out there and went for over 20 and impacted the game big time. That speaks to how good Michael is and how good he's going to be. The biggest thing that he needs to understand is he can play within the flow of the offense. In Kelsey's system, you're still going to score 20-plus points. The difference is you're going to have 20 points and 9, 10, 11, 12 assists if you trust the system. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like to me, sense. That's the step for Michael is trusting the system and doing the things the right way and not trying to force it.
Well, to me, the other thing with Michael, he's going to have to learn when, and he won't face this against IU, but when there's another point guard that challenges him, he can't be focused on outdueling the other star point guard.
Yeah.
He has to learn, remember, just play your game and everything will be okay. Just play your game. And I think we saw that earlier, when we played, my mind just blanked in the preseason.
Kansas.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We played Kansas.
Yeah, he made it about him and Darren Peterson.
Yeah, it made about him and Darren Peterson, took him out of his game, and it took Louisville out of its game.
Yes. This Louisville team goes as Michael Brown goes. Michael has to run this team. Like, you can't think, okay, I'm going to drive it and be aggressive 20% of the time. Like, you can't say, okay, I drove the ball once, so now I can just float around and try to jack my shot up the next four possessions. Like, you can't play like that. You know, you have to do what the defense and what the game is dictating you do every time down the court. You got to play the game the right way every time.
And if he can play within himself, once again, this is one of those things with, you know, freshman point guards, they have to learn. You know, it's a process. You have to learn that it's okay. Just play your game. You'll be fine. Don't worry about what the guy in front of you is doing just yet. Play your game. You'll be fine. And once that really sinks in, because you see it in the second half of games, right? You saw in the second half of the Kansas game, in the exhibition, he started to play more within himself, and the team got better and played better. Even against Arkansas, he started to play more within himself, within the system.
Scored 51 points in the second half of that Arkansas game.
Yeah. You know, things got better. It's just that he just has to learn, you know, it's a learning process. He's a freshman guard, and we said this was going to happen. We said over the summer, hey, he's a great, super great talent, next level talent. First round pick, easy. Lottery pick, easy. You just have to learn how to play within yourself. He's going to make fresh mistakes because that's what freshmen do.
Yes. Yes.
And he's done it a couple of times, but every time you can see in the second half, he learns from his mistakes in the first half, corrects it, and we're good to go. Now, against Arkansas, if it was only a 15-point spread,
yes,
or a 12-point spread, Louisville comes back and wins that game. Yep. So it's completely different. So once he learns and gets comfortable, trust me, come March, this guy is going to be a beast.
Monster.
I mean, he's a monster now.
Yes.
Just wait until he gets that experience. He fully trusts the system. He trusts himself. He no longer compares himself to the star point guard in front of him. He'll be good to go.
Yeah, and it's the natural progression of a point guard. And this young man is mature beyond his years. He's ultra talented, very smart, works on the game, just consumes film. I have no worries about it. And you have one of the best point guards to ever play at the University of Louisville. There's an assistant coach as well. Peyton Seaver's not going to let this young man fail.
No, not at all.
Like, at all. You know, and he has enough nice, you know, great mentors around him from Donovan Mitchell and everybody else. Trust me, he's going to be fine. I'm not worried at all. You know, that's one of the things that I continue to say about this team is that, like, I don't worry. This Louisville team is going to be outstanding. They're going to be a 1 or 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. They're going to get tons of big wins. Like, that Arkansas game did not make me or shake me one iota. To me, I loved it. I loved the fact that they went out there, got their butts kicked. Would I have loved to have beaten Kenny Payne and Coach Calipari? Absolutely. But more than likely, I went into that game thinking, you know, I felt like that was going to be a tough road to hoe, but it's something that Louisville needs for the natural progression to take that next step. So it will be interesting to see the responses. I do think that Coach Kelsey is going to shake some things up. Anytime this Louisville team has lost a game, Coach Kelsey has made big-time adjustments to fix things. So,
and you need games like that to point out your faults so you can get those out of the way now before you get to conference play.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of the things that we learned is like, hey, Frew down low in the 4, that's the guy you want against big, athletic, other forwards and big men from other teams. Frew needs to come out there first. We know we need Ali Khalifa. He needs to be more offensive minded, needs to score. We know Zoo is just like our defensive force. He's not going to score, but he can play great defense. And now you can move. Now you know how guys move. You start to move guys around. And as Ali Khalifa becomes a little bit more offensive minded, becomes a little bit more of a threat, especially in the paint. Like, I know he can shoot pretty well, but he really needs to be a threat in the paint. Is where we really, really need him to be a threat. Now, he doesn't have to score all the time. Like you said, 6-8 points a game.
Yeah.
But it's that threat that's going to collapse the defense to him that's going to make his passing even that much better.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree with you. And just a little bit about Indiana before we kind of give our picks before we get out of here at the bottom of the hour. You know, the guys that you want to remember for Indiana, Tucker DeVries, of course, we saw him last year at West Virginia with his brother, with his father, Darian DeVries, when he was a coach at WVU. Tucker, big forward, great shooter. He's a guy who's going to definitely stretch you out, one of the best shooters in the country. Lamar Wilkerson, we talked about him, one of the best two guards in the country. Both of those guys averaging 16 points per game. Their point guard, Tatum Conaway, a guy who wants to be aggressive going to the basket. Not a great shooter, but a great defender, aggressive on the ball defensively. So that'll be a good test. They have the young freshman Trent Sisley, who's doing a little bit. I don't think he's necessarily a big impact guy as of yet, but it feels like this is a game where he's going to try to get off and kind of make things happen. It's kind of Louisville's always an opportunity for guys to go out there and kind of make themselves known. So I could see Sisley trying to be that. Sam Alexis is the big guy I was talking about. Very aggressive, a little bit undersized in the post, but very savvy around the basket. So those are kind of the guys that you want to keep a lookout for. But this is an Indiana team that's going to get up and down. They're going to shoot a lot of threes. Reed Bailey is their other guy who starts. He's going to get out there. He's going to try to put up a lot of shots. Bailey shooting 50% from three. Both DeVries and Wilkerson are both shooting over 40%. So we understand what the Indiana, we know it's going to be about. It's going to be about 4 around 1. They're going to try to kick the ball around and get up as many threes as possible. So this is going to be a game that's going to be played at a very high possession rate. It's going to be a track meet. But Haven Harrington, give me your thoughts. Give me your, the way you think the game's going to go. Give me a final score and an MVP.
Both teams going to it sounds like both teams going to do the same thing. Jack up threes, run, and be athletic. Difference in the game, Louisville has more offensive firepower in the paint. I think Fru's going to be big in this game. I think if IU really wants to run, that they're going to try to, but Louisville's way more athletic at every position on the court. We just have that athleticism, and we have the depth. Give me Louisville by 10, 93-83.
I like it. For me, I feel like, first of all, Michael Brown is going to come out like a man possessed. He's going to come in trying to, quote unquote, make up for the Arkansas game. He has nothing to make up for. I think that he's going to be aggressive. I think he's going to really dive into the scouting report. I think that him getting that challenge of Conaway, who's going to really put the screws to him, I think he's going to be aggressive getting to the rim. Conaway is probably only about 6'1". So Michael's going to be able to use his size and his strength to kind of really attack him. I think that Louisville can get a lot of opportunity with him getting to the basket to get these wide open threes. I think that Isaac McNeely is going to have his first 20-point, or not his first 20-point game, but I do think he's going to go for 20 today. Ooh. Just because I think that they're going to help hard down on Fru, and they're going to have to help on those Michael drives. And I can just envision Isaac McNeely getting a really hot today. So I think that he'll be kind of the breakout guy. I do expect big games from Michael as well as Sananda, and probably, I think Wilkerson and Conwell will be about a wash. I think those two will kind of cancel each other out. But I do think that Louisville's size and a guy like Kenai Roos and Kason Pryor, Indiana just doesn't have anybody who can match up with those two guys physically. I think that whether they're coming off the bench, if Hadley starts, I can see both of those guys kind of getting those second chance buckets, getting offensive rebounds, putbacks. Ultimately, I think Louisville gets it done. I think this one gets into triple figures. Give me Louisville 104, Indiana 89.
Those NBA scores. Good Lord.
Yeah, 104-89. I think it's going to be up and down, man. I do. I think it's going to be a very fun game. I think it's going to be very entertaining for the fans. I think people are going to be Louisville fans will kind of be able to take a breath because they've been hearing a lot of fuss, and there was some kind of freaking out a little bit after the Arkansas game. I understand it. It's your first loss, but I think everything is okay. We're going to send the Hoosiers into a little bit of a nervous they're going to be nervous wrecks heading into that Ohio State game, but I do think the Cardinals are going to get it done. Haven Harrington, appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. I appreciate WGTK 970 for joining us, letting us be a part of the Louisville First Radio Network. Thank you, guys, and thank everybody else for checking in. This is Raashaan Myers for Haven Harrington. This is Wake Up 502, and we'll be back next week on Big X Sports Radio.
Check us out, wakeup502.com.